Konnichiwa. My name is Darnell Schaefer. I'm a second-year student at Johns Hopkins SAIS, and I'm studying energy, resources, and the environment. So I just want to begin with thanking JICE, GRIPS, and every institution and organization that made our KAKEHASHI experience very memorable and something that we'll hold on to as we go back to the States. So although we all were very, very interested in Japan, our overall knowledge of Japan was quite limited. We all sort of approached Japan from different points of reference. Some of us have spent times overseas studying in different programs, but we didn't really have a strong foundation on what is Japan. But just being in America, we kind of absorbed a lot of soft culture, things in news reports, media, and we sort of formulated ideas and opinions about Japan. Some of the things that we lacked knowledge on specifically was on Japanese culture. Not only just Japanese culture in general, but particularly pop culture. And through some of our events and activities, we learned more about the defense industry, and also from our visit to the power plant, we got exposure to some of the cutting-edge technology that Japan is now home to.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine. I'm a second-year student at SAIS, and I'm concentrating in international law. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that we learned this week. There are altogether too many things to condense into a 10-minute presentation, but I'm just going to give you some of the highlights. So starting with the cultural things that we learned, I'm going to list some of our top experiences. Mochi. I had only had mochi once before in my life, and now I know how to make it. So that was a real treat. We got to learn how to make it in the traditional style during our visit in Nagasaki. And it's not easy, let me tell you. We were very, very impressed with the woman who guided us on this. We also learned about Japanese architecture, something most of us knew very little about, and we learned about this when we visited the house of the Japanese royalty of the palace. We learned that Japanese houses are typically and traditionally raised above the ground to allow for ventilation underneath, and we learned about the use of Japanese gardens, how they're often meant to be enjoyed and to be viewed from the inside of the house looking out, and used for relaxation. We learned about urban versus rural life when we got to make the transition from Tokyo to Nagasaki into a rural area of Nagasaki, and we were able to kind of compare and contrast the differences in lifestyles. The custom of taking off your shoes when you enter a house is something new to most of us, and we got used to it by the end. I have a feeling when I go home now, I will take my shoes off before I enter my house, just out of custom. As well as the custom of bowing, something which I think shows the tremendous amount of respect that the Japanese people have for one another. During our poignant experience at the Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Museum, I think I speak for all of us when I say we developed a much greater understanding of the consequences of World War II and how that affected the Japanese people. We had the pleasure of hearing a survivor of the Nagasaki bombing speak, and I think that provides us all with a very personal experience and connection to what really happened. And that's something that I think I will remember for the rest of my life, hearing him speak and hearing his experiences there as a child. Just some general traits of the Japanese people that we notice are, number one, politeness. We have experienced tremendous politeness from everyone we've met here. Promptness, being on time, is something that is very important, and that's something I will continue to work on and take forward. Cleanliness, as we wash our hands before and after each meal to prevent influenza. structure in most things, whether it's in the house, in society, in academic studies. We really notice a sense of structure. And lastly, graciousness, as you bow to people when you meet them and when you say goodbye. We really felt this sense of graciousness as you thank someone before and after. From our homestay experience, I think we all took a lot away from this, and for me personally, this was the highlight of the trip for me. We all learned a bit about Japanese families, their structure and the hierarchy, as some of us saw 3 generations living in one household, and then also witnessing the different roles that people take within these houses. Dining protocol and etiquette is very different from what most of us are used to. I learned how to properly sip green tea by twisting the bowl twice, taking 3 sips and twisting it back through extensive charades, trial and error, but we got it. The woman who taught us mochi explained to us the trend that she has noticed in her lifetime of a migration from rural to urban areas that's happening throughout Japan as younger people are seeking jobs in the cities. The traditional bathing technique I had the pleasure of enjoying, and it was fabulous on a cold day. And then the idea of cooking with the heart and the notion of using food as a gift is something that I will take with me. My host mother that I had the pleasure of staying with told us that she cooked this food with her heart and from her heart for us. And we felt that, we really felt that. So finally, just some other fun things that we learned here. Vending machines are amazing and everywhere, and I will miss them when I'm home. This was my first time having shabu shabu, which was delicious, and I will seek out a shabu shabu place back in DC. How masks can be worn for several different purposes. We noticed that the Japanese people are very resourceful in all senses, whether it comes to food, not wasting any part of the animal, using every part of something, not providing paper towels in restrooms to eliminate waste, things like that. The toilets are on another level technologically. So that was interesting, also learning process there. And then lastly, we noticed a real presence of community responsibility. And this is most clearly evident, I think, in the fact that there are so few trash cans compared to the United States in Japan, yet the country is pristine. And we think that that kind of shows that people really take it upon themselves to keep their country clean and to deal with their trash on their own. And then lastly, an incorporation with nature is a theme we noticed throughout. Even at the at the clean coal power plant, there was a mandate to have 21% of the power plant covered in greenery. So there were gardens at a coal power plant. Go figure, but that's just one example of how they really have a connection to nature and incorporate it into their lives. Now, I'm going to pass it on to Neve to talk about the effects.
Hi, my name is Neve, and I am a Reischauer Fellow at Johns Hopkins. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how this shaped us and how we're hoping to use this in the future. A lot of us, aside from myself and 2 others, we had never been to Japan before, and really, as they said, had no idea what that even meant. And a lot of us now feel a little bit more close with Japan and the Japanese people, and have a greater understanding for what that means. We are also looking to engage in a long-term relationship with the U.S. and Japan relations. And some people, like Mai in the front here, is really looking to even learn Japanese now. Olivia hopes to pursue a PhD with relations to Japanese. In particular, she looks at how Korean and Japanese policies on information sharing will affect the U.S.-Japan relation and affect the U.S.-Korea relation. So she will expound upon that information with what she has learned here at the Ministry of Defense. We're also looking to promote the idea that stability in Asia is pivotal to everyone's success. So we have people looking for